Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Know Your World with Nishi. Today we discuss the former capital of Kazakhstan, Almaty. But before we begin, I hope you've had a chance to see my video on Kazakhstan. We also have videos on Shymkent and Turkestan. So let's begin. For most, Almaty is almost synonymous with Kazakhstan, earlier known as Alma Ata, meaning father of apples in Kazakh. Almaty is Kazakhstan's largest city and was the country's former capital till 1997. Almaty is a modern city and its urban skyline, streets, parks and public spaces resemble many western cities. The place was a significant city in the former USSR and it still accommodates over 100 different ethnic groups from all over the former Soviet Union. The city's population at present is a little over 2 million, with the majority being Kazakhs and Russians, making it genuinely cosmopolitan with a Western charm. The Russians named Almaty Verny in the mid-19th century when they arrived and built a fort. The old town of Verny was destroyed by an earthquake in 1911 and a new city was built in its place. The Soviets made significant changes to the cityscape as they constructed monumental structures such as government buildings, universities, libraries, metro, opera houses, theatres, markets and museums. Today, Almaty's top attractions include heritage buildings, parks, art installations and World War II memorials. As you take your first steps in Almaty, you are greeted with beautiful views of snow-clad Alatu mountains. Perfect setting for a city that promises a highly scenic landscape of mountains, canyons, alpine lakes, beautiful forests, apple orchards, not to forget its lure of winter sports. Unfortunately, some carry a wrong perception of Almaty as a place for cheap thrills. Not only is it misplaced, it is a waste of a trip to this magnificent city.
In Almaty we have so many bars, so different as for your choice that you want to visit. But most days when it's mostly crowded and people partying is of course Friday and Saturday.
Right.
Actually Friday night it's something amazing because people works from Monday till Friday and Friday partying till 6 a.m.
Oh really? All night?
All night 6 a.m.
Wow.
Because for them it's like something like special culture. People after working week they meeting all together, partying, drinking, dancing, talking about everything.
Wow.
And, walking on streets, you can see people working on streets
Yes.
at 4 5 a.m. and having good time. So it's a part of our culture, nightlife in Almaty.
Almaty is best visited between late April and October. June and July could get very hot, almost up to 40 degrees Celsius, but things cool down from August onwards. If you wish to see colorful flora, October is the best time to experience the golden autumn, especially the second half of the month. How much time to spend in Almaty? Well, 4 full days to cover the city and its neighborhood. If you were to add more destinations to Almaty in a single trip, you may add Shymkent and Turkestan, which are also in the southern part of Kazakhstan. One can also visit Kyrgyzstan. Bishkek, its capital, is just about 4 hours away by road. It may not be a bad idea to start your tryst with Almaty with a walk down Zibek Zoli. Zibek means silk, Zo means road, thus meaning Silk Road. However, to this day, this lively pedestrian street is known by its original name, Arbat Street. The street in the heart of Almaty is home to open public spaces, decorative art installations, popular cafes, food stalls and fancy stores. On a leisurely stroll along the street, one can relax by its fountains, enjoy the artsy vibe of Almaty, listen to live performances by young musicians, admire paintings by talented local artists, or simply observe the fashionable lifestyle of the city. By the way, Arbat Street is not unique only to Almaty. There are Arbat streets in Shymkent and even Moscow. Not very far from Arbat Street is the historical Panfilov Park, arguably Almaty's most important World War II memorial. It is dedicated to the 28th soldiers of General Ivan Panfilov's 316th Rifle Division, who were primarily ethnic Kazakhs and Kyrgyz. These brave soldiers sacrificed their lives as they defended Moscow against a large force of German tanks in 1941. It is said that each soldier destroyed one German tank before being killed in the battle. All of them were conferred posthumously with the title Hero of Soviet Union, the highest military honor in the then USSR. The words inscribed on its wall is the war cry that roughly translates to "Great Russia, we can't lose. Moscow lies behind us." Kazakhstan used to celebrate Victory Day every 9th of May in honor of Russia's victory over Germany, although the celebrations have been halted since the Russian attack on Ukraine. Today, the center of the park has large granite sculpture of soldiers, some of who participated in Russia's war in Afghanistan, an eternal flame, and plaques of different battle sites. This park, which stands on the site of the former cemetery of Old Almaty, also houses several notable structures and landmarks such as the Zenkov Cathedral, President's Alley, that is home to trees planted by visiting presidents of various countries, Kazakh Museum of Musical Instruments, House of Officers, and several statues of Kazakh war heroes. Within the premises of Panfilov Park, the Kazakh Museum of Musical Instruments is a unique cultural attraction themed on the nomadic musical traditions of Central Asia. Also known as Ikhlas Dukenuli Museum, after the 18th century maestro and founder of Kazakh traditional kui music, the museum has vast collection of folk instruments belonging to various nomadic communities of the Eurasian steppes. It exhibits beautifully preserved instruments such as dombra, kobiz, shertahap, jetizin, dalpaz, sibizgi flute, and many more. Apart from these rare instruments, galleries of folk musical instruments used worldwide are on display. Indian music, which is popular across Central Asia, also has a separate gallery displaying the sitar, veena, tabla, harmonium, and various instruments from the subcontinent.
I'm sure you guys can hear light Indian music being played in this section of the museum. As you can see, there's a range of Indian musical instruments on display. Just goes to prove that Indian music has made its way to Central Asia.
Another landmark in the premises of Panfilov Park is the Zenkov Cathedral. Also known as the Ascension Cathedral, this is Kazakhstan's most significant Russian Orthodox church, with architecture similar to Russia's colorful onion dome churches. Originally built in 1907 by Russian architect Andrei Pavlovich Zenkov, the structure was made of wood without the use of a single nail, which locals believe was because nails were used to crucify Jesus Christ. This cathedral survived a massive earthquake of 1911, which destroyed almost the whole of Almaty, and this many attribute to Zenkov's innovative design. The interiors of this cathedral are adorned with exquisite biblical paintings, murals, intricate woodwork, and gold-plated objects. During the Soviet era, the cathedral ceased to function as a religious site and was used for government services. However, in 1995, it was restored and reopened as a public worship place. For those into architecture, don't miss the Abay Opera House. Also known as the Kazakh State Academic Opera and Ballet Theatre, Abay's Opera House is a stunning architectural landmark in Almaty. It is considered one of the finest opera houses in Kazakhstan and is named after Abay Konanboyli, a famous Kazakh poet and composer. Built in 1936, the Grand Opera House features impressive Stalinist design fused with classical Italian and Kazakh ornamental decor. The Almaty metro is a legacy from the Soviet times. Interestingly, most metro stations in the then USSR were initially built as bomb shelters. Only Almaty's metro was considered for public transport. Built in 1988, the Almaty metro stands out from those in most Western cities in its architectural design and system. Each metro station is designed on a unique theme and decorated with chandeliers, mosaics, glass paintings, and traditional artwork portraying the history and culture of Kazakhstan. While you can't cover the whole city using the metro system, it has only 9 stations. You may want to take a joyride from, say, the Almaty metro station to the Baikonur metro station. In central Almaty stands the most iconic landmark of the city, the Monument of Independence. A 28 meter or 91 feet tall stone pillar in the central of Republic Square, the Monument of Independence was conceptualized by Kazakhstan's first president Nursultan Nazarbayev, who was inspired by beautiful monuments that he saw in Egypt during a state visit. The structure came to shape in 1996 when Almaty was the capital of Kazakhstan. The pillar is adorned with traditional Kazakh motifs. It has a figure of Scythian golden Saka warrior and a snow leopard, which are the emblems of Almaty. Around the column, there are large sculptures of Tengri, the sky god and supreme deity, and Umay, the Mother Earth, both considered native Kazakh gods seated with their children, together symbolizing the present and future of Kazakhstan. The monument also has 10 bas-reliefs that depict important elements of Kazakh history from the time of the Saka queen Tomyris, who fought Persians, to modern-day Kazakhstan, as well as important personalities such as Kenesare, the last king of Kazakhstan who died fighting the Russians in 1847, Shogun Vali Khanov, father of Kazakh historiography and ethnography, Aban Kunanboli, most famous Kazakh writer and philosopher, Birzan Sal, famous Kazakh singer and storyteller, Alia Molda Gulova, a sniper in the Soviet army who killed more than 30 Nazi soldiers, and Manchuk Mametova, a lady machine gun expert. Both died during the war and were awarded Hero of the Soviet Union. There's also an image of the student revolution of December 1986 called Jeltoksan, or December Uprising, when the popular first secretary of the Communist Party of Kazakhstan, Dinmukhamed Kunaev, an ethnic Kazakh, was replaced with Gennady Kolbin, an ethnic Russian, by Mikhail Gorbachev. Get a glimpse of Kazakhstan's rich history at the Central State Museum of Almaty, the largest museum in Central Asia that has several exhibition halls displaying thousands of antiques, dioramas, paintings, and vintage photos from various periods of Kazakhstan's history. The museum houses rare artifacts from natural history, the ancient Scythian or Saka kingdom, Silk Road cities, Kazakh nomadic traditions, and Soviet legacy. For those into Soviet architecture, the structure has a fascinating Soviet design with a fusion of traditional Kazakh architecture. Pause and take in the massive and majestic arch of the First President's Park. This is a vast public garden sprawling across the suburbs of Almaty. It was created by Kazakhstan's first president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, who ruled from 1991 to 2019. This 180-acre park sits on the site of former apple orchards and boasts of spacious lawns adorned with beautiful flowers and different types of trees. It is decorated with majestic arches, statues of the president, and tall fountains that are beautifully lit at night. If a dog is a man's best friend the world over, it is falcon for a Kazakh. The steppes of Kazakhstan and the Alatau mountains surrounding Almaty are home to various species of falcons and eagles. Kazakh nomads have traditionally used these birds of prey for hunting in the wild steppes. In Russian, Sunkar means falcon, and the Falconry Center was established in 1989 to conserve and rehabilitate different falcon species. The center's main attraction is the falconry show held for tourists every day at 5 o'clock in the evening. The show is hosted by an extremely witty gentleman by the name Pavel, who makes it a point to connect with visitors from different parts of the world. For Indians, he rattles out names of Bollywood actors and even speaks a few sentences in Hindi. He demonstrates old hunting techniques using trained falcons while introducing rare species of eagles, vultures, owls, and griffons native to this region. For a bird's eye view of Almaty, take a cable car up Koktobe, that means Green Hill. This amusement park is the highest viewpoint in Almaty and offers spectacular views of the beautiful skyline and the surrounding snow-capped Alatau mountains, especially at sunset. Kids have a blast at the Ferris wheel and fast coaster rides, while adults join in at the House of Optical Illusion. Check out the legendary bronze figures of the Beatles monument and marvel at the iconic Sulushash or the girl with the souvenir, the largest Soviet-era mosaic artwork of Almaty. Douse the hunger pangs with some sun-relation snacks and grilled shashliks at various food stalls. Koktobe is a great place to spend the evening and remains lively and buzzing with activities even till late night. Welcome to the world's highest winter sports arena. Located on the outskirts of Almaty at an altitude of 1691 meters in the Alatau range, Mediu is famous for its ice skating rink. The Mediu Sports Complex got its name from Malau Matinsky Volost Mediu Pusurmanvo, a respected Kazakh entrepreneur who lived in the region and was deeply involved in the reconstruction of Almaty after it was devastated by the earthquake of 1911. The complex was constructed by Soviet engineers in 1949 to prepare athletes for winter games and adventure sports. The stadium was expanded and renovated over time and is now a popular tourist attraction. Mediu has hosted the 2011 Winter Games, the 2012 Bandy World Championship, and several prestigious speed skating, ice hockey, and ice motorcycling tournaments. It is also known as the Factory of Records, as numerous athletes have achieved several feats here. Mediu is open for tourists who wish to experience winter sports or learn skiing. During summers, the arena also functions as a venue for concerts. Mediu can be reached only on cable cars and electric buses, as vehicles are prohibited to preserve their pristine environment. If Mediu is for those into winter sports, Shimbulak is for all. Located above the Mediu ice skating rink with its highest point at about 3,200 meters, this ski resort is situated on the picturesque slopes of the Alatau range and is the nearest mountain retreat from Almaty. Take one of the modern cable cars and ski chairs on a 4.5 long ropeway for fantastic views of the mountain around. Lush green in summer, golden in autumn. On the way, one can't miss the Mediu Dam that was built to protect the city of Almaty from mudflow and rockfalls. While Shimbulak is bustling throughout the year, it becomes the major hotspot during winters, with people from world over visiting the perfect mountain retreat. Are you into experiences around culture and tradition? If yes, the Hans Ethno Village is just for you. About an hour from Almaty, the model village gets its name from Hans, an ancient warrior tribe of Kazakhstan, whose culture later spread across Central Asia and Eastern Europe. Here, one gets to see the traditional lifestyle of Kazakh people and an insight into the nomadic culture in villages that are called Alls. They tell you about the yurts, which is local Kazakh dwellings, how one isn't supposed to step on the entrance wedge as it is believed that the ancestors of the occupants stay there as guardian angels, how the door of a yurt always faces the east, how when a stranger comes, he or she is first offered some food and then greeted with a welcome song, how various accessories of a warrior are placed in the yurt so that he can pick them up and quickly dash out to face the enemy. They show you how they make their fabric from wool and their colorful handicraft, offer traditional dishes, and perform spectacular acrobatic moves on horses, indigenous games and folk dances. After the performances, one can try archery and horse riding, pose for photos dressed in nomadic attire, learn local recipes, and shop for souvenirs. Once you are done with soaking in the beauty of Almaty, it's time for some shopping. And what better place than Zeleny Bazaar in Almaty? Also known as Kok Bazaar, which means green market in Kazakh. Zeleny Bazaar is Almaty's oldest and largest market. It was built in 1875 and has been the center for Central Asian traders since then. The market sells fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy products, meat, spices, and household items all under one roof. One can also find vendors from Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and other places from the former Soviet Union selling local produce, handicrafts, and homemade food items. One of the most exciting experiences for tourists is to visit the alley of dry fruits, where friendly vendors offer a variety of exotic nuts and sweets to sample. These vendors are also fun to talk to, and once they realize that you're from India, they'll sing Bollywood numbers to get your attention. Want to take a souvenir? Try the delicious dry fruits of Central Asia, which offer unique flavors you won't find anywhere else. And also remember to try the famous Kazakh honey, kumis, which is fermented horse milk, and kurt, which are salted cheese balls. Next to Zeleny Bazaar is the Rakhat Chocolate Factory, that is famous for its premium quality world-class chocolates and confectionery products since Soviet times. Established in 1942, Rakhat chocolates were popular throughout the USSR and produced nearly 400 varieties of confectionery items. Great stuff to gift your loved ones on your return. Popular among them are drives to Kolsay Lake and Issyk Lake. Both are on the east of Almaty and thus share a common road for some distance before they go in different directions. One route takes you to Charyn Canyon, Kaindi Lake and Kolsay Lake. The drive is simply mesmerizing with vast landscape on either side surrounded by barren mountains. One can also see Kazakh villages and lifestyle in the countryside.
So we started from Almaty in the morning, driven through some fabulous landscape, beautiful barren and now green mountains. It's just amazing. We are on the verge of entering the Kolsay National Park. The main attraction is the lake at Kolsay National Park. So it's called the Kolsay Lake. Very famous, and as you can see, there are a lot of vehicles lined up to buy the entry ticket to Kolsay National Park. Just look at this absolute stunning beauty. There's so less of population, people. The whole place just looks just like your own private place. Amazing. And the drive, I just can't describe it. It's been the best I've ever come across.
The Charyn Canyon National Park has one of Kazakhstan's most astounding land formations and geological features. The icy waters of the Charyn River, rapidly flowing down the Tian Shan Mountains for eons, have carved the terrain into a fairy tale landscape of intriguing rock formations. The 300 meters deep and nearly 50 kilometers long Charyn Canyon has been divided into various parts based on its landforms. The most fascinating part is the Valley of Castles, a large area of towering red rocks that appear like a natural fortress. Walk through the valley of canyons and gaze up at the giant boulders and different colored stones. And if you do that during twilight, you can't miss the silhouettes that appear to be of animals, soldiers, guards, and things that you can imagine. Charyn Canyon is often compared with Grand Canyon in Nevada in the US, but it has a charm of its own. There's a Nature Interpretation Center and museum at Charyn that offers detailed information about this heritage site. Further east is the picturesque mountain lake of Kaindi. The lake was formed naturally due to an earthquake in 1911, which is how it got its name. Kaindi Lake means landslide lake. As a result, it has stunning scenery of a sunken forest of spruce trees set amidst emerald-colored water body. Water here doesn't get too cold even in winters, which is how the trunks still stand without withering. This beautiful lake is also surrounded by scenic coniferous forests and limestone rocks. Prior to COVID, people used to go diving in this lake. Kaindi is a detour from Almaty Kolsay highway. For those interested in a ride on vintage Soviet-era vehicles, enjoy one from the highway on dusty roads to the Kaindi Lake base point. From here, one can either trek uphill for about 45 minutes to the lake or take a pony. I suggest that people with unfit knees or the very elderly should use a pony. This is among the most famous lakes in the Almaty region. The Kolsay Lakes are a group of 3 beautiful mountain lakes in the Kolsay Lake National Park area of the Tian Shan mountain system. The lakes are famous for their crystal clear waters and the scenic surroundings reflected in their turquoise waters. The lakes are at 1818 meters to 2850 meters and are connected by the Kolsay River. According to Kazakh folklore, the lakes represent 3 sisters from rich parents who secretly wish to marry the same boy from a poor family. Upon hearing their wishes, their father prayed to Tengri, the god of the sky, who turned the girls into 3 lakes, the Kolsay Lakes, and the boy into a river, the Kolsay River, thus preserving their love till eternity. Vehicles go right up to the lower Kolsay Lake, but one needs to trek uphill in the mountains if one wishes to visit the middle and the upper Kolsay Lakes. Most tourists return after spending some time at the lower Kolsay Lake. There are a few things to remember while taking the excursion from Almaty to Kolsay Lake. Firstly, if you wish to visit all 3, that is Charyn Canyon, Kaindi Lake and Kolsay Lake, it will be extremely hectic to cover them all in one day. It will be better to stay at Sati, a village not far from Kolsay Lake. Secondly, if you wish to visit all the 3 Kolsay Lakes, you will need to dedicate one full day to cover them, which means 2 nights at Sati village. Another interesting excursion from Almaty is a visit to Issyk Lake and the Golden Man Museum, both located near the town of Issyk, about 2 hours away from the city. If you wish to visit a lake as beautiful as Kolsay, if not more, yet much less crowded, head out to Issyk Lake. This turquoise-colored Issyk Lake is a spectacular alpine lake in the Issyk Gorge of the Tian Shan mountain system, certainly one of the most beautiful in the Almaty region. In October, the colorful settings of the lake's turquoise waters against the golden foliage of its surrounding forest and clear blue sky are a visual delight to behold. Know what? Issyk Lake was once a famous nature retreat during the Soviet era. It was a large nature retreat and was frequented by plenty of holidaymakers. The township came to a tragic end when the entire place was destroyed within hours by a powerful earthquake in 1963. A protective dam was later built and the site was restored, but resorts never came up again. If you are visiting Issyk Lake, the Golden Man Museum is a beautiful bonus on the way. The museum is in a stunning countryside where several burial mounds or kurgans of the ancient Scythian or Saka people are located. Respected men such as kings or army commanders used to be honored in death by placing their bodies in kurgans. Since these are considered sacred, one is advised against stepping or climbing on the kurgans. In 1969, archaeologists discovered the remains of a Scythian or Saka warrior dressed in golden robes, armor and jewelry. They named it the Golden Man. It was the most precious artifact discovered in Kazakh history, and its winged ornaments are also featured in the national emblem of Kazakhstan. The museum is exclusively dedicated to Scythian history and culture. Scythians were first to rule Central Asia between 500 BC and 500 AD. take a guided tour of the museum's various galleries that offer extensive information on the traditions of Scythians. Also listen to the fascinating story of archaeologists and their archived works on the discovery of the Golden Man. The museum guide told us that the Golden Man that we see at the museum is a replica and the original one is kept in safe custody in the capital of Astana. As I mentioned earlier, a visit to Almaty is utterly incomplete without drives to its magical countrysides. Hope you like this video. You remember that we also have videos on Kazakhstan as a country as well as Shymkent and Turkestan. Do check them out when you have some time. Thanks for watching.
Unwinds live their stories